Whether you're running a YouTube channel, starting a business, hosting an event, or just blogging, you need a website. One of the easiest ways to get started is to use WordPress. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up a WordPress site on AWS. And even better, it's free for the first year and costs a pittance after that. WordPress is a powerful content management system that allows you to quickly set up a website about anything. Using its powerful tools and thousands of plugins, you can set up your website to do everything from video hosting to e-commerce to blogging to pretty much insert anything here. You can also make your site look however you want, either by using one of the thousands of free themes, thousands of commercial themes, getting someone to design it for you, or even tinkering with the HTML and CSS yourself. Today, I'll show you how to set up a WordPress website on an AWS EC2 instance. This is very easy, very cheap. In fact, it's free for the first year if this is your first new AWS account, and it's also very secure. The method I'm showing you today is how I run my channel website, thattech.guru. Okay, so I am in the AWS console. I am currently in the Frankfurt region, but this should work regardless of what region you are in. So first we're going to go to Services and we're going to choose EC2 from under Compute. As you can see, I have no running instances, so I'm going to click Launch Instance and then Launch Instance. Now the easiest way to do this is to install an image that already has WordPress on it. So if we go to AWS Marketplace, we can then search for WordPress. And as you can see, there's here WordPress packaged by Bitnami. Now, there are other packagers which offer WordPress as well, but typically the one I use is this one here. So I'm going to click Select. So you'll see here the pricing for the package. And as you can see, for the software, we're not actually paying anything. And for EC2, we have the normal charges here. So I'll click Continue. Now, if you want to have this as cheaply as possible, you'll want to choose the T2.micro instance type. As you can see, this has free tier eligible. Next, in configuring the instance details, basically you don't really need to do anything from here. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next, Add Storage. Now we can choose how much storage we're going to give to the server. Honestly, the default 10 gig should be more than enough, so I'm going to leave it as is. And now we can add some tags. So I'm going to click Add Tag, set the tag name key to name, and I'm going to set the value to WordPress server. We can click Next. And as you can see, this image comes with a security group, which already has SSH, HTTP, and HTTPS open. That's pretty much what we're going to need. If you're more concerned about security, you might want to change this to just your IP address, but do bear in mind that if your IP changes, you won't be able to access the system. Now we can click Review and Launch, and click Launch. Now we need to create a key pair here, unless you already have one. So I'm going to click Create a new key pair, and I'm going to call it My Frankfurt Key Pair. I'm going to download that, and I'm going to click Launch Instances. Okay, so you'll see here that our instance is now launching. And one thing you'll want to do is click here on View Usage Instructions, because we're going to need that in a second. So basically this tells us how to get the credentials for the WordPress installation, because that will contain our username and password for WordPress. Okay, so we can click View Instances now, and as you can see, my instance is running. So the first thing we'll need to do is follow these instructions here in order to get our credentials. So according to the instructions, what we can do is select our instance, then go to Actions, Monitor and Troubleshoot, get system log. Okay, and as you can see here, there's a log of when the system was created. And if we scroll through this log, you can see here, setting Bitnami application password to blah, blah, blah. The default application username is user. Okay, so in order to log into our WordPress server, we'll just use the username and that password. So I'm just gonna copy this password here, and I'm going to paste it in a text file. Okay, so we can now go back to our instance. And as you can see, this has a public IPv4 address. So we could open the site from here. Okay, so I'm assuming that you're going to want to connect a domain name to this server, okay? You're not gonna have people accessing your site using the IP address. So in order to do that, we need to go to Services and then Route 53. So this is Amazon's DNS and domain registration service. Now, if you want to buy a domain, you can actually do it from here. So you can go to Registered Domains, and you can go to Register Domain, and then you can register any domain you want. As you can see, the price is here. Okay, so in my case, I already have a domain that I don't really use, which is this one here for a dead project. So I'm going to click on it and click Manage DNS. And as you can see, we have our name server records here. See, type NS, and these are the name server records. So what you'll want to do is copy these name server records and then go back to Route 53 and find your domain, which in my case is this one here. So now what I'll need to do is I need to click Add or Edit Name Servers, and I need to make sure that these values are the same as what I copied earlier. So I'm just going to bring my notepad here and paste my servers, and as you can see, I need to replace them with what I copied. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you can see, it says here, your request to update name servers was successfully submitted. You will receive an email when it's done. Now, in the meantime, we can go back to our hosted zones and back to the domain. And now all we need to do is to tell Amazon to take people to our EC2 server when this domain name is typed. So to do that, we'll click Create Record. We'll choose Simple Routing. And then we'll say Define Simple Record. So here we'll leave everything empty. Record type is A. And we're going to route traffic to an IP address. Okay, now here is where we need to enter the IP address of our server. So back in the AWS console in another tab, I'm going to go to EC2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Elastic IPs. And I'm going to say Allocate Elastic IP address. And click Allocate. Okay, so this is basically a static IP. And we're going to associate this guy with our server. So we'll click Actions, Associate Elastic IP address, and then we'll choose our WordPress server and click Associate. So now if we go back to our instance, we can see that this instance now has that Elastic IP, and that will not change. So we can go ahead and copy this guy, and back in the other tab, we can simply paste this here. And then click Define Simple Record. Now, many people use www. Your domain name to access your site. So you'll want to make sure that this works as well. So after clicking Create Records here, I'll click Create Record again, Simple Routing, Define Simple Record. I'll type www here. And then from the list of record types, I'll choose CNAME. And I'll route traffic to the main domain.com. Okay, so this basically creates a shortcut or an alias that points www.the to just the domain name. And we'll click Define Simple Record. So as you can see here, now we have our name server record, we have our A record that we created, and we have the scene name that we created just now. Okay, so at this point, typing in the domain name of the site should display, as you can see, the WordPress page. Okay, so our site is now live, and it's live at the domain name that we have just configured. Now the problem is, as you can see here in my browser, it says not secure. Any website worth its salt nowadays must be accessible over HTTPS, but in order to do that, we need to get a security certificate. Luckily, this is very easy thanks to Let's Encrypt. So in order to get a security certificate, we'll go back to our instances and click Connect. Now, there are several ways to connect to the instance, but perhaps the easiest is to use EC2 Instance Connect. So what we'll need to do is change the username to Bitnami and click Connect. Now, in our case, I'm going to copy this command here, switch to a terminal, switch to my Downloads folder. And as you can see in the Downloads folder, there's my keeper that I created earlier. I'm going to change its permissions so they're secure, and then I'm going to paste that command. Now, one thing you'll want to do before using the command provided is to change the username, since AWS is unable to guess it correctly. So instead of admin, we'll type Bitnami, press enter, and as you can see, we are connected. Now, Bitnami have made it very, very easy for us to get a certificate. So all you need to do is type sudo opt bitnami bncert-tool. Please provide a valid space-separated list of domains. So we'll want to make sure we enter our domain, of course, but also the www version of our domain. Now, do we want to automatically redirect people who go to HTTP to HTTPS? Yes, I want to do that. Do we want to redirect people to always use www? No. And do we want to redirect people to never use www? Yes. Again, obviously, you can change these as you wish. So here we get a summary of the changes which are going to happen. So yes, I agree. Okay, so now I must give an email address. So I'm going to give them mine, keith@thattech.guru. Do you agree to the subscriber agreement? Yes, I do. And as you can see here, it says success and that it should have finished. So we'll go ahead and press enter to continue. So now, technically, our website should be accessible via HTTPS. So I'm going to go to my site and I'm going to add here https:// and as you can see, I get the padlock icon. And if I show the certificate, you can see that I have a valid certificate here. Okay, so next, you'll want to manage your site. So from our site, we'll go to /wp-admin. And this brings up the login page. Now, the default username is user. And we'll copy the password we got from the logs earlier. And there we are. Here we are inside WordPress. Okay. Now, again, it is beyond the scope of this video to show you how to actually use WordPress. But now that you have a WordPress site set up, you can pretty easily browse through the menu here to change the look and feel of your site, install plugins, set up security, and so on. The point is, you now have a secure website hosted with WordPress on AWS. For example, one thing we'll want to do is go to the themes here, and we can add a new theme. So I'm going to choose just the first one I see here and install it. And I'll activate it. And now if I visit the site, you can see that the theme has changed to what I have chosen. You can also install plugins very easily here from the Plugins menu. You now have your own WordPress website, and it's very easy to customize this site to be and look like whatever you want. Let me know what you create down in the comments below. And whilst you're scrolling there, why not hit like and subscribe? It really helps the channel to grow, so I really appreciate if you do. With WordPress, everybody can have a website. I can't wait to see what you create with it. I hope you found the video useful, and until the next one, thanks for watching.